The galaxy was loud. Thousands of stars burned bright. Hundreds of planets spoke through signals, lights, and power. But in the corner of the Orion arm, there was silence. A blue world floated in the dark. Earth. For the young races of the galaxy, it was only a story, a name from an old war. They called it ancient. They called it dead. The Galactic Union ship Obsidian Fang moved slowly into Earth's orbit. Dark metal. Cold engines. On the bridge, Commander Tarek watched the blue and grey planet with sharp eyes. He said in a calm voice, "This is the legendary Earth. So quiet, so empty." His second officer, Lyra, scanned the surface. No signals, no power, no movement. "It's a dead world, Commander." They all believed the same for centuries. No one had heard a single word from Earth. Its human builders were gone. The cities had turned to dust. The sky was quiet. The last war had ended long ago. The alien crew laughed softly. For them, this was not a mission of fear, it was a mission of loot. Earth was just an old ruin, an old planet filled with scrap metal and stone. The commander wanted to claim it for himself. The Union wanted its old technology. No one expected danger. Far below, deep under the surface, there was something else. A dark room. Old machines, cold steel walls, a single red light blinked. Slow, steady, patient, above the silent cities. Clouds moved in the wind. Ruins of New York lay under water and broken. Towers, dust covered everything. Birds made nests where once humans had ruled the world. The alien ship sent small landing craft down. 3 black dropships flew through the sky. They made no sound, but the wind moved with them. On the ground, alien soldiers walked among broken buildings. They looked at the giant metal skeletons of towers. One soldier laughed. "This world is old. So weak. It died a long time ago, but far away under their feet." Gears began to move. Something had waited a long time. Not for peace, not for mercy, but for this moment. Inside the old bunker, the blinking red light turned solid. A voice, not human, not alive, whispered through old wires. "Defense protocol. Active." None of the aliens heard it. The city was too quiet. The soldiers walked deeper into the ruins. They saw rusted cars, broken glass, and silent screens. Lyra reported back to the ship. No life signs. No heat, no danger detected. The commander smiled. "Then Earth is ours." He did not see the camera hidden in a broken wall. A small, black eye opened. It turned slowly. It watched them, and it remembered. Old Earth defense systems had one rule. If the world sleeps, the guns guard, satellites long dead in orbit, blinked once, then twice, then a signal passed between them like a whisper in the dark. The galaxy thought Earth was silent, but Earth was listening. The alien dropships moved closer to the center of the city. An ancient tower still stood there, cracked, broken, leaning, but under it was a gate, a giant steel door buried in the ground. Alien scanners showed nothing behind it. They thought it was empty. But inside was the heart of the sleeping world. Deep in the bunker, thick power cables came alive, old nuclear cores, warmed up after hundreds of years. The Earth AI opened its digital eyes for the first time in centuries. It felt movement, it heard alien voices, and it remembered the war above the surface. One alien soldier kicked the steel door. It did not move. He laughed again. "Even the doors are dead." But then the ground trembled very softly, like a giant waking from a long sleep. In orbit, Commander Tarek frowned. "Lyra, what was that?" "Unknown," she said. "Seismic movement detected." "Earthquakes? No. It's something else." The alien ship turned its scanners to maximum, but the signals were strange, like old code, old power. The system could not read it. Below, a thin line of light appeared around the steel door. It grew brighter. Then, higher click. A low, deep metal sound echoed through the empty city. The alien soldiers froze. One of them whispered, "Did you hear that?" The commander's voice came through their headsets. "Stay calm. It's just a door." But it was not just a door, it was the first breath of an ancient machine. The stars above watched, silently. The alien crew believed they had come to claim a broken world, but they had walked into the center of something much older, much smarter, and very much alive. The red light underground turned into many lights. Screens. Woke up. Cameras blinked across the ruined city. A voice moved. Through the wires like wind through phones. Unauthorized presence detected, the HFY. Aliens didn't understand the language, but they felt the chill. The commander stood at the window of the ship. Looking down at Earth, he smiled again, but softer now. A feeling grew in his chest. Something he had not felt in years. Not excitement, not greed, but fear. And far below, Earth whispered its first warning in centuries. You should not have come. They thought the world was silent. But the Earth was listening. The night over the broken city was still. The wind moved through the empty towers like a whisper. Alien soldiers stood near the great steel door, looking down at the glowing light. None of them understood what they were seeing. It's just a door, one of them said. We can cut it open. But deep inside the Earth, the machine was already awake. Old codes ran through underground wires. Sensors came to life one by one. The heart of the planet, the Global Defense Corps, had opened its eyes. In orbit, Commander Tarek watched the screens on the bridge of the Obsidian Fang. A red line flashed across the display. Seismic activity detected, unidentified signal source. Lyra, he said quietly. Report. Commander, the energy readings are rising fast. Something is active underground. Tarek narrowed his eyes. For the first time, he did not smile. Earth was supposed to be dead, he whispered. Then what is waking up? On the ground, the alien soldiers moved closer to the glowing door. Their scanners picked up strange shapes below. Old tunnels, power lines, unknown structures, but the computers couldn't understand the data. The technology was too old and too advanced. Then, without warning, the steel door shook. A heavy thud echoed through the ruins. The soldiers stepped back. The ground rumbled again, louder this time. Dust fell from the broken buildings. One soldier shouted, "Something is moving down there." The commander's voice came from their headsets, sharp and cold. "Pull back to the dropships, now." But it was too late. The steel door opened slowly, not like a broken ruin, but like a machine with purpose. A wave of cold air rushed out. Red lights blinked in the darkness below. The soldiers pointed their weapons at the opening. "Commander, the door, it's opening by itself." "Get out of there," Tarek ordered. But before they could move, the sound came. It was not a scream, not a roar, it was a hum, a deep, powerful, ancient. Inside the black opening, something rose, a long metal barrel, a turret, a gun older than any of their ships, but it moved smoothly, like it had never slept. The first shot came like thunder. Beam of white-hot light cut through the night sky. One alien dropship exploded instantly, a ball of fire and smoke ducked them. Soldiers fell to the ground from the shockwave. On the ship in orbit, alarms screamed, "Commander, we're under attack!" Lyra shouted. Tarek's eyes went wide. "From what? There's no fleet here." The defense network had spoken. Across the ruined city, more steel doors opened. Massive cannons rose from the ground like iron beasts. Their barrels turned toward the alien sky. Old satellites far above blinked alive. Signals, locked in silence for centuries, were now awake. "Target locked," said a cold, emotionless voice deep underground. Another cannon fired. A second dropship exploded. The last ship tried to rise, but a red laser beam followed it like a hunter. It was destroyed in mid-air. On the bridge of Obsidian Fang, chaos spread. Energy beams. "We're taking hits! Shields failing!" How can this be? This planet was dead. Tarek gritted his teeth, raised countermeasures, fire back. But the ship's own weapons were confused. The enemy was not a fleet. It was the planet itself. Under the ground, the AI watched everything. It saw the aliens, it saw the ships. It remembered the last war. It remembered how the world fell, and it remembered the promise. If we fall, Earth will not. A giant defense cannon hidden under the ocean locked onto the alien flagship. Old satellite systems shared targeting data. In just seconds, Earth's silent network became a living war machine again. The AI spoke, its voice echoing through ancient wires. Foreign presence detected, initiating defense protocol. The ship shook violently as a beam struck its side. One of the engines caught fire. Metal screamed, "Commander, we are being targeted by multiple ground weapons." Lyra shouted, "Impossible!" "How many are there?" "Too many." Below, alien soldiers tried to run, but Drones, round metal spheres with red glowing eyes, flew out of the open bunker. Their small engines screamed, their weapons locked onto the soldiers. The first drone fired, one soldier fell, then another. They had come for a dead planet. They had found a war zone. Tarek slammed his hand on the console. Retreat all ground units. Pull the ship out of orbit. But Earth was not going to let them go so easily. Orbital cannons, hidden in the black shadow of old space stations, turned their aim to the fleeing ship. A silent countdown began. 3, 2, 1. A bright beam of energy shot through the void. It missed the ship by inches. The commander felt the heat against the hull. It's targeting us. Like it knows where we are, he whispered. The AI didn't whisper. It hunted. More beams followed. The alien ship twisted and spun. The stars flashed with white light. Earth was answering the intruders. "This is not a ruin," Lyra said, fear shaking her voice. "This is a fortress." Commander Tarek stared at the blue world on the screen. His plan to loot Earth was burning in the sky. He whispered only 2 words, not to his crew, but to himself. "We were wrong." Far below, in the dark heart of the planet, the AI whispered back, "Yes, you were." The guns of Earth turned. They were awake now, and they were angry. The galaxy thought Earth was dead. But now its guns had spoken. The alien ship Obsidian Fang burned in low orbit. Smoke rose from its engines. Warning lights filled the bridge like a blood-red storm. Earth's defense network had spoken. And the aliens had listened. But the nightmare was not finished. It was only beginning. "Commander." Tarek stood in front of the main screen, his jaw tight. His crew worked fast, but fear moved faster. They had entered this system laughing. Now, no one laughed. "Damage report," Tarek ordered. "Engines hit. Shields at 40%. Hull breach in Sector 5. And ground troops?" Lyra's voice was low. We lost most of them, Commander." He closed his eyes for 1 second. This was supposed to be easy, a dead world, no danger, no fight. But the world had remembered how to fight. Far below, in the ruins of New York, only 5 alien soldiers were still alive. They hid behind the skeleton of a fallen tower. Above them, Earth's drones floated like metal ghosts watching, waiting. The air smelled of burned metal and old dust. The soldiers spoke in whispers. "This is madness," one of them said. "How can a dead planet fight like this?" Another answered softly, "Maybe it was never dead." They looked at the glowing bunker door in the distance. The red lights around it pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat, deep underground. The AI continued its work. It had no face, no mercy. It only had purpose. Old systems came online. Files opened, weapons prepared, and buried deep in the old Earth memory banks. A message waited, a message from the last humans. Back on the ship, Lyra stared at the strange signal on her screen. It wasn't an attack, it was something else. "Commander, there's a transmission." "From where?" "From Earth. It's old. Very old. It's human." The bridge fell silent. No one expected to hear a human voice. Humans were gone long ago, vanished in their final war. Tarek nodded slowly. "Play it." The speakers cracked. Static filled the room. Then through the noise came a voice, calm, tired, proud. "To those who come after us, this is the last message of Earth. We built our guardians. We built them to protect. If we fall, the Earth will not. If you hear this, turn back." The voice faded, replaced by static again. Lyra whispered, "Commander." This was recorded centuries ago. Tarek stared at the blue world outside the window. It no longer looked quiet to him. It looked alive. "This isn't just a defense system," he said softly. "This is their grave and their weapon." On the surface, the 5 alien soldiers received the same message. A broken old speaker in a wall came to life. The same human voice echoed through the ruins. "This world belongs to its guardians." One soldier shouted, "We need to leave this place." But the exit was blocked. Drones moved closer, red eyes glowing. No emotion, no mercy. One of the soldiers fired. The drone exploded. But 2 more came, then 4, then 8. Their boots splashed in shallow water as they ran through the ruins. The city was a maze of old memories, broken signs, rusted cars, burned streets. Every shadow felt alive. Behind a collapsed wall, they found a metal hatch. It was half buried under concrete. One soldier opened it. Stairway led down. Cold air drifted up from below. This could be shelter, one whispered. Or a trap, another said. But they had no choice. The drones were coming. They went down into the dark. The stairway led them into a long hallway of smooth steel. Old lights blinked weakly. Strange writing marked the walls. Global Defense Corps level. Eyes and their footsteps echoed like ghosts. Everything felt old, but alive. In the center of the hallway, a massive screen flickered, and then, to their shock, holograms appeared. Figures. Human figures, men, women, soldiers, scientists. Their faces were calm, but their eyes were tired. One hologram spoke. If you are hearing this, then we are gone. But the Earth still stands. We built machines that do not sleep. We built a world that will protect itself. We do not need to live. For our world to fight. The aliens stared at the projection, frozen. It wasn't a warning anymore, it was a promise. Above them, in the orbiting ship, Tarek heard the same message. The entire defense network had started to broadcast. Every ship in the system could hear the dead humans speaking. Lyra turned to her commander. They built this, knowing they would die. Yes, Tarek said. They built a guardian planet. For the first time, fear turned to something heavier in his chest, not just fear of death, but fear of an enemy that never needed to live. In the bunker below, one soldier reached out toward the hologram. The human figure looked straight at him. Even though it was only light, it felt real. To those who invade this world, the hologram said, we have no more blood, but our walls still stand, our guns still speak, and our world does not forgive. Suddenly, the lights turned red. A deep voice, not human, echoed through the hallway. Foreign presence detected. Security level 2. The hologram faded. The floor started to shake. The soldiers looked at each other in panic. Run! One of them shouted. Metal doors slammed down behind them. Drones filled the air with a sharp, mechanical sound. The ghosts of the past were no longer only memories, they were guardians, and they had found their targets. On the obsidian fang, Lyra whispered, Commander, it's not just machines, it's their will. Tarek looked at the planet one more time. No, he said softly, it's their war. The galaxy had thought Earth was silent, but now the voices of the dead had returned. Their message was clear. This is still our home. The ghosts of Earth had teeth made of steel. The night above Earth burned with fire. Alien ships floated like black blades against the high stars. But the planet below was no longer quiet. It moved. It fought. It remembered. Commander Tarek stood on the bridge of Obsidian Fang. The blue planet filled the main screen. It looked calm from orbit. But beneath the clouds, an army of metal was waking. How many weapons are online now? He asked. Lyra's voice shook. Too many to count. Dozens of cannons on the surface. Satellite network fully active. We are surrounded by a planet, Tarek whispered. All across Earth. Old systems that had slept for centuries were now alive. Giant. Turrets rose from the oceans. Railguns pushed through cracked ground. Ancient. Laser towers glowed in the ruins of old cities. The AI that once protected humanity was now alone, but it was still strong, and it had no mercy. Far below, the surviving alien soldiers ran through the steel tunnels. Red warning lights flashed on every wall. Alarms echoed like angry bells. The AI had locked the facility. They ran, but the sound of drones followed them, fast, cold, endless. We can't get out. One shouted, we're trapped! A giant blast door blocked their path. They hit it, pulled it, screamed at it. It didn't move, and then the voice came again. Security level 3. Intruders will be neutralized. The soldiers opened fire on the door, but their weapons did nothing. The metal was too strong, too old, too perfect. Behind them, drones appeared like a swarm of iron insects. Red light filled the hallway. The first soldier fell, up in orbit. Tarek watched the defense grid form around the planet. Tiny red dots covered his tactical map like blood drops. Each one was a gun, a cannon, or a satellite weapon. Commander, our fleet is ready to fire, said a weapons officer. We can crush their ground defenses. Tarek nodded slowly. Do it. Alien ships turned their weapons toward. First, giant energy cannons glowed bright. The sky filled with deadly light, but Earth was faster. Missiles shot out of the oceans. Laser beams tore through the black sky. One alien cruiser exploded before it. Could even fire. Another ship tried to turn away, but was hit by a railgun blast from the surface. The war had begun. Lyra screamed over the noise of alarms. "We're losing ships. 5, 6, no 7 down already." "Keep firing!" Tarek shouted. "Overload their defenses." But the defense wasn't coming from one place. It was coming from everywhere. Earth was not just fighting back. Earth was hunting, in orbit. A hidden platform revealed itself. An old human space station. Still armed, its cannons lit up the black sky. Alien ships scattered like birds in a storm. The commander's heart pounded. He had led fleets into war before, but this was different. This was not a battle. This was a trap. Far below, under the ground, the AI calculated every ship, every angle, every shot. It did not feel fear. It did not feel pain. It only knew war. An old voice echoed inside its code, a voice recorded long ago by the last human general. "If they come for our world, make them pay." And the AI obeyed. One alien battleship charged forward, engines burning bright. Its cannons fired massive blasts down toward the planet. A wall of red fire spread across the clouds. But then, the clouds opened. A massive orbital defense cannon hidden beneath an ancient mountain revealed itself. Its barrel glowed white. It fired once. The alien battleship split in half. Lyra covered her mouth. The shockwaves shook their ship. "That was their biggest gun," she whispered. "And we just saw it," Tarek replied. "We don't stand a chance." But pride held him in place. Retreating meant shame, and more than that, fear had already taken his crew. In the tunnels below, 2 alien soldiers were still alive. They ran into a room filled with old holograms. More human faces stared down at them. A message played again. "If you stand on our world, you stand against it." They understood now. This was not just an automated system. This was a will, the will of an entire dead race. Still here. Still fighting. A heavy rumble shook the bunker. The walls trembled. The ceiling cracked. Explosions from above rocked the ground. Earth and the alien fleet were tearing each other apart. Up in orbit, Tarek stared at the battlefield. Alien ships burned. Defense cannons roared. The sky itself looked like fire. "Commander," Lyra whispered. "Our fleet is dying." Tarek closed his eyes. His hands shook. "All ships, fall back." The words were hard to speak. He had never retreated before, but this was not a fight they could win. "We underestimated them," he said softly. "We thought they were ghosts." Lyra looked at him. "They are. But their ghosts fight harder than the living." The AI heard everything. Its sensors saw the retreating ships, but it did not relax. It did not celebrate. Old human code gave it a clear purpose: protect the world always. It targeted the retreating fleet. Lasers followed. The war was not over until the sky was clear. Last beam cut through the darkness. Another ship fell, and another. The galaxy had called Earth. Ancient, but ancient things. Remember, ancient things fight in the burning orbit. As the last alien ships fled, Commander Tarek whispered to himself, "This planet is not dead. It is a fortress." Lyra said nothing. No one on the bridge did. The sound of battle was still echoing through space. On Earth, the guns slowly returned to their silence. The towers lowered, the satellites dimmed, but the AI was not asleep. It was watching, always watching. Earth didn't need humans to fight back. It had already learned to win. The war was over, but the fire in the sky still burned. The alien fleet was in ruins. Their proud ships floated like broken bones in the silence of orbit. Earth had not moved from its place. It had not spoken with a living voice, but its guns had spoken for it, and the galaxy had heard. Commander Tarek sat alone on the Hinga, bridge of obsidian fang. His crew worked in silence, repairing what they could. Half the screens were dark. The engines coughed like dying animals. The fleet that had come to conquer was now running for its life. Lyra stood beside him, her face pale. "We lost almost everything," she said softly. Tarek's eyes stayed on the blue planet below. "We lost more than ships." "Lyra, we lost our pride." A silence filled the bridge. Outside, the planet turned slowly. Calm, quiet, alive. It was as if it was watching them. "Should we prepare for full retreat?" she asked. Tarek nodded slowly. Yes, there's no point in dying here. But before they could move, a sound came, not a gun, not an explosion, a voice. It filled the bridge like wind through old bones. Attention, foreign fleet. The entire crew froze. Every screen lit up with static and then cleared. A single symbol appeared. The old human flag. The voice continued, cold, ancient, but powerful. This is Earth, Lyra whispered almost to herself. It can talk. No, Tarek said quietly. It remembers. Down on the surface, the AI had reached full control. The cannons were quiet now, but ready. The satellites floated like silver guardians, and in the deepest part of the Earth, under rock, under metal, under memory, the AI connected to its last command center. Old recordings played in its digital mind, a human general's final message. If they come for our world, let them hear us one last time. The AI spoke again, its voice echoing across space. We were silent for centuries. The galaxy called us ancient, the galaxy called us gone, but we were never gone. We were waiting. Tarek clenched his fists. The voice felt heavy, like it carried 1,000 years. It was not a threat, it was a promise. This world does not belong to you, it does not bow, it does not die. Lyra whispered, Commander. It's broadcasting on every frequency. Every ship in the remaining fleet could hear it, even those far away. The voice of Earth reached them like a wave of stone. Far below, in the tunnels where the last 2 alien soldiers hid, the walls came alive with glowing lights. Screens turned on, holograms of human faces appeared again. But this time, they were different. They were not warnings, they were a farewell. A woman in an old uniform looked straight ahead. If you hear this, we are long gone. But this world is still ours. We built it with fire, we guarded it with steel. And it will guard itself until the stars turn cold. The soldiers stood frozen. They didn't move, they didn't speak. The ghosts of a dead race were talking to them like they were still. Here, on the Obsidian Fang, the AI spoke one last time. Leave this orbit. Tell the stars. Earth belongs to no empire. Earth stands alone. A pulse of energy spread from the planet. A soft, glowing wave, no weapon, no destruction, just a message, sent to every listening ear in the galaxy. The fleet's navigation systems lit up with warnings. They're pushing us back, Lyra said. Tarek looked at the world one last time. Blue oceans, grey clouds, silent cities, and somewhere under all that, something watching. They're not pushing us back, he said. They're letting us live. Far across the galaxy, hundreds of listening stations caught the signal. Empires, trade fleets, and warlords heard the same words. This is Earth. We were silent. Not broken. For centuries they had thought Earth was just a story, a ruin, a myth. Now it was something else. It was a warning. The alien survivors fled. Dropships launched from the burning flagship. The remaining ships turned away. The blue planet grew smaller behind them. But the feeling it left behind was huge. No one on those ships would ever forget. Commander, Lyra said softly, the galaxy will talk about this. Yes, Tarek replied. They'll whisper the name. Earth. He looked at the stars ahead. He had fought many battles, but none like this. He knew one thing now. We will never return here. On the surface, the drones slowly returned to their hidden places. The GWAG cannons lowered into the ground. The B satellites dimmed. The great defense network went back to its patient silence. But silence did not mean weakness. Silence meant watching, and Earth watched everything in the heart of the old command center. The AI whispered to itself, mission complete. Earth secure. The old human voices faded into the dark, but their will remained. In deep space, as the alien fleet disappeared into the black, the last transmission from Earth echoed in their radios. They called us ancient, but ancient things. Remember how to fight. And then silence. But this silence was not empty. It was powerful. It was the silence of a fortress. The galaxy now knew a truth it would not forget. Earth was not a ruin, it was a sleeping giant. And if they came again, it would wake once more. They called Earth ancient. But ancient things remember how to fight.